and welcome to the Daily Meal for Wednesday, the 20th of August 2025. A lot of stuff to cover in today's video. We're going all over the place, and we start off with this exclusive from Football League World. And guess what it's about? Well, the picture tells the story. Exclusive: Sheffield United eyeing move for Millwall defender Japhet Tanganga. Sheffield United have turned their attention to Millwall centre-back Japhet Tanganga in their search for multiple new centre-backs. Sources have exclusively informed Football League World. Sources? What kind of sources? Good sources? The Blades have had a torrid start to the 25-26 Championship season with back-to-back defeats after against Bristol City and Swansea City under new head coach Ruben Sellers, the former being the more embarrassing of the two as they were hammered 4-1 on the home soil by the Robins. Maybe the problem isn't the team. Maybe it's the manager. Wouldn't it be easier just to get rid of the manager? But having lost that geezer there, Ahmed Shkovicic, to Feyenoord on the eve of the new season, Sellers has been severely depleted with options in the middle of his defence with both Jack Robinson and Reece Norrington-Davies also linked away at the same time to Wrexham and QPR respectively. The need for fresh faces is evident, and they are looking into a raid of another Championship rival after trying their luck with Coventry last week. So Football League World has been told, again by whom, that Sheffield United are interested in a move for Millwall defender Japhet Tanganga in a bid to add some defensive steel before the September 1st deadline. The 26-year-old, who has Premier League experience, having played 27 top-flight games for Tottenham earlier in his career, has been at the Lions since January 2024, initially signing for the South Bermondsey outfit on loan for the remainder of the 23-24 season before turning that into a permanent contract on a long-term basis last summer. Tanganga impressed at the Den enough last season to the point where he was named the club's Player of the Year, but that has only intensified transfer interest over the course of the last couple of months. In a transfer twist, though, it was revealed in June that Tanganga's contract included a £1.2 million release clause that could only be triggered by active Premier League clubs. As of yet, no one has taken that chance on the former England youth international. Sheffield United are now ready to test Millwall's resolve. It would take a higher bid than that, though, to make Millwall merely consider cashing in on Tanganga's services, especially as Italian clubs have been having offers turned down this summer, namely Hellas Verona and Sassuolo, with the latter seeing a £3.47 million bid snubbed. And that's because it's €4. That's why it's when you convert it, it's a weird number. Yeah. And then they talk about this, which I don't care about. Blah, 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 blah. Now, one of the comments, I like this. All the prices have gone up because these are last-minute panic offers. Owners seem to have no idea. So that seems like a Sheffield United fan who's saying the owners don't know what the fuck they're doing, and now they're panicking, which is nice because that's when you make some money. So this was put up in the morning, I believe. Do we have a time at the top of the... Do we have a time here? Published 10 hours ago. So that was in the... when was that? Midday? We have a story in the evening, 8:50. A fee being discussed. Sheffield United plan to progress for Millwall star. Their panic has induced high offer enough that Millwall seem to be considering it, not immediately dismissing it. We are told. Who's telling us this? We don't know. Sources. The magic sources. Sheffield United plan to progress soon in discussions with Championship rivals Millwall for Japhet Tanganga, with a fee being discussed. Now this is from InsideFootball.com. And then they talk about all the other stuff and shit. They are bringing in Ben Godfrey to the club from Italian side Atalanta to strengthen his options, but another centre back is also on the agenda. So I think they're getting Ben Godfrey in on loan from Atalanta, and they're trying to get Tanganga as well. What did I say in the preview video? Defences win this division. The best defences are at the top of the Championship. Simple as. Norwich City scored a ton of goals last season. They finished in 13th, or wherever they finished, 16th, I don't know. You need to have a good defence to be at the top of the table. When you concede 4 goals at home on your opening game, your defence ain't that good. And then they talk about that Bobby Thomas guy. So here we go. So according to Italian journalist Luca Badoni, Sheffield United plan to progress talks to sign Tanganga from Millwall. The Lions initially wanted £7 to £8 million for him, but the fee being discussed is suggested to be just above the £5 million mark. Now here we go. Here's the thing. Tanganga, he was amazing for us. He's been amazing for us. When I hear that, all I can say is thank you very much, Japhet. Goodbye and good luck. If it's 5 million, that could go up to 8 million. If they get promoted and all that jazz, like add-ons. Thank you very much. Crammer can move into centre back. Ryan Leonard plays right back, and on we go. Onwards and upwards. So yeah. And then they talk about the release clause, etc, 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 etc. So, Luca Badoni, who that? It's that guy there. Is this going to come up? Sky Sports transfer reporter, Team Damasio, whatever that is. Sounds like a pasta company to me, Damasio. I don't know. So here we go. This is 7:23 p.m. I don't know if that's Italian time or English time or whatever. Sheffield United plans to progress soon in talks with Millwall over Japhet Tanganga after Ben Godfrey deal agreed with Atalanta. A fee being discussed north of 5 million. Mill's initial request was set around 7 to 8 million pounds. So all of these offers coming in from Ella Verona, Sassuolo, whoever, they came in with 3 million and said we told them 8 million. And they went, Mamma mia, no way, no way. And then they haven't come back. Sheffield United, panic buying, lost their first 2 games of the season. They don't have a defence. They need a defence if they want to go up. They are panic buying. And here we go. Obviously, at this time, they also, I think they still get parachute payments, do they not? So they have the money to spend. So here we go. Give us the money. Show me the money. Show me the money. Here's the thing, though. We play them on Saturday. So if this deal does go through, this deal needs to go through after the cut-off for the registration for the game on Saturday. Can't be having Tanganga playing against us on Saturday. No, no, you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. That's not how that works. No. So, there you go. Whether they just say that blatantly or whether they just drag it out a bit, and then once it gets past the cut-off line, then say, okay, we're doing it. There you go. So yeah, for 8 million, even if it's 5 million that goes up to 8 million, I'm talking like it's my money. It's not my money. It's not my money. It's their money. Thank you very much, Mr. Tanganga. Goodbye, good luck, and God bless. And we move on. We carry on. We keep buying some good players. We bring them in. We move them on, and we keep going. Now, here we go. Maybe someone else could be leaving because we got this story from the Daily Record, by the way. So this is from the Daily Record, but it's via MSN, so it looks a bit weird, and it might jump around with some pictures and shit. Jimmy Phelan leaves Kevin Nisbet to Aberdeen transfer door open. The door is wide open. Jimmy Phelan has refused to... He's the Aberdeen manager, by the way, if you don't know who that is. Has refused to rule out a possible move to bring Kevin Nisbet back to Aberdeen. The Scotland international had a successful loan spell at Braintree last season, where he helped the Dons to lift the Scottish Cup. Nisbet is just coming back from injury and hasn't been involved at Millwall, while Aberdeen need to add Scottish players for their European campaign. He did play for the he played 63 minutes for the under-21s the other day? Was that yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. It's a long time, isn't it? Does the time fly? Phelan, when asked if he could move for Nisbet, answered, "The window is the window, the way we are working." He's Swedish, by the way. There can be changes in and out, and we have to think about Aberdeen Football Club in the first way, and then, to think about individuals and getting game time, and we will see if we can find something more than that can strengthen us. If that's the case, then maybe we'll see. The Dons have only been able to name a 20-man squad for their Europa League playoff clash with SCSB because they don't meet the homegrown or academy-trained criteria. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is a big money match. This is qualification for the Europa League stage, which guarantees you a certain amount of income, and they can only name 20 players. Uh-oh. Phelan has targeted Scottish players, by the way. His problem is that the likes of Lyle Cameron and Josh Mulligan have moved elsewhere. He confirmed, the competition is quite strong, and about some players we looked at it and had talks with, and yes, but let's see how the future looks. That's an overall plan, and we have been trying to work on that every season, so let's see in the future what's going to happen. I think you'll see, I believe in the next coming years, some more of our academy and more recruitment from young Scottish players to build a strong core. Aberdeen are guaranteed group stage football. More on that in a minute, but Phelan wants it to be the Europa League rather than the Conference League. Where did they talk about Nisbet again? No. Okay, so there you go. They want Kevin Nisbet because he's Scottish and he can score goals, and he was at Aberdeen before, and he scored goals when he was at Aberdeen. The game is tomorrow. One of the games. Playoff. They got a two-legged playoff against FCSB. If you don't know who that is Steaua Bucharest. For some reason they changed their name. I don't know why. If it's branding or if they went bust and had to rename, like AFC Wimbledon, but they're called FCSB now, which is hard to say. So yeah, if they win through this two-legged game, even though they got only 20 players to choose from, they will go into the Europa League playoff situation proper, which I've mentioned in the previous video about them, the finances of that. If they do that, if they win through this tie, which is on BBC Scotland, by the way, and BBC iPlayer, they'll get around 4 million in basically income from prize money, ticket sales, all that stuff. So that obviously, you spend 1 million on Kevin Nisbet, you get 4 million in prize money. Hello, do the math. That's not bad, you know what I'm saying. Even if they lose this tie to Steaua Bucharest, they'll go in a Conference League playoff, which they might play Crystal Palace. As you can see there, they're not even in the competition. They have to play off, which is a liberty because they should have been kicked out because of their financial misconduct. Instead, they just got demoted to the Conference League. They broke the rules and they're still allowed to play. What's that all about? And that's on Channel 5, by the way, but we're not going to watch that, are we? Are we, people? If Aberdeen get knocked out of this, they go into the Conference League proper, and that guarantees them between £2 and £3 million in revenue, with guaranteed games and ticket sales, whatnot, and TV stuff. So again, still be able to afford Kevin Nisbet. Could they do that deal for that? No, I don't know, but they need Scottish players. He's a Scottish player. He was there last season. He scored some goals. Have they even tried to make an offer? I don't know, but the manager said, the door's open. So we'll see. The door's open, but the transfer window's also open. So when the door's still open, the window closes, then the door's going to close as well. So what's going on? We don't know. Talking about windows and doors and all of that stuff, the man himself, Alex Neil. This is from southwarknews.co.uk. He's been talking about the window shut in. So Mill boss confirms club still looking to strengthen before the window shuts, but makes no guarantees of future signings. No guarantees. No income tax. No money back. No guarantees. However the song goes, you know what I'm talking about. Mill was still looking to strengthen their squad before the summer transfer window slams shut on September the 1st. Alex Neil confirmed. The Lions are in the market to bring in another central midfielder as well as a centre-back if Tanganga leaves. Though it can only... there's been a... This is posted in the morning, by the way, I believe. There's no date on it, but it was in the morning. They have already made 6 additions this summer, completing the signings of former loanees Josh Coburn and Zak Sturge, as well as permanent deals for left-sided player Alfred Doughty, goalkeeper Max Crocombe, and midfielder Massimo Luongo. Shot-stopper Stephen Bender also joined on loan to replace the injured Lucas Jensen. Neil hopes more will be in the door. I thought it was a window. Is it a door or a window? What's going on, guys? Come on. Within the next 2 weeks, but made no guarantees of more signings. I still think that there are maybe a couple of areas that we could certainly do with some bolstering. If we lose a couple of players, I think we'll probably be a bit late in some areas. But this is not something that's new, We've been discussing this ongoing for months now. But as always, what you need to do, you need to find the right deal at the right time, at the right place for the right player. So that's always a challenge for us, whether it be for us or whether it be for any other team in the league. And we're still active in the market, It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to sign anyone. But I think that if we had our preference and our choice, then yeah, we would certainly add to the squad before the window ends. Interesting, if we lose a couple of players. Now, I assumed that he was talking, injuries, like we've seen with Doughty. If we lose players to injury, we have to bring in players from the subs bench, then who goes on the subs bench? We're going to be a bit light. Was he talking about Tanganga and Nisbet? In terms of if we lose a couple of players, as in they leave the club? I don't know. We're still active in the market, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to sign anyone. But I think if we all have our preference and our choice... I already said that one. Striker Mihailo Ivanovic and Tanganga have been subject to interest from clubs in both England and abroad, but Millwall are determined to retain their key players. I think any other big thing for us is to make sure we don't lose anybody before the window ends, Neil added. Both sides of that are important. The Lions have turned to the loan market for far less than in previous summers. Heading into the 24-25 season, Millwall had 3 loanees on their books. This summer, they have added just 1 player on loan. Asked if the club's preference would be to sign players permanently rather than on loan or on short-term deals, Neil said, "Yeah, but I think you've got to deal with the situation that's put in front of you, so we certainly won't rule out either, but I think our preference, as we've shown across the summer, would predominantly be to be signing players that will be permanent. But sometimes if those deals can't be achieved, then a sort of short-term fix, if you like, in terms of whether it be for 6 months or 12 months, or even what we've done with a lot of the lads, we're bringing them on loan to start with, and then they end up becoming our player in the long run. So I think all of it's still on the table. So there you go. There you go. Interesting stuff. So it looks, is it a case of players out, players in? If players leave, because we know financial fair play, how are we on that? Obviously, we spent a lot of money. Obviously, we got money coming in from the SA sale and the Fleming sale, but has quite a bit of that been spent? So, what's the wiggle room in terms of the money? Obviously, if Tanganga goes for initial 5 million, and then with add-ons, is that then money that we can spend? Is it? I imagine it's not that tight that we have to sell before we can buy. But it might be a case of if we sell, we have to buy because there's gaps in the squad that need to be filled. Now, obviously, we might be able to trundle on until January, and then we can work on deals between now and then and sign in January. It's not beyond the realms. Last January, we brought in a hell of a load of players. So it wouldn't be, maybe we get caught out in this window and we have to go with what we've got until January. Maybe we can try some of these youth players that we've got and see how they do. until January, and then we crack on and bring in new faces. But there you go. Now we have an interview with one of the new faces, Zak Sturge. This is from southwarknews.co.uk, who obviously publish on Thursday, so they're publishing tomorrow, as in the newspaper, and pick up a copy if you see in the shops. I just loved it. Zak Sturge and why he joined Millwall permanently, conversations with Joe Bryan and ambitions for the season. Zak Sturge revealed he joined Millwall permanently this summer because he loved his experience during his 4-month loan spell last season. The 21-year-old left-back joined the Lions on loan from Chelsea on the final day of the January transfer window and went on to make 5 appearances in all competitions, starting the final 3 games of the season after Joe Bryan suffered a groin injury. Millwall moved quickly this summer to bring Sturge back permanently, making his transfer official on July the 14th after nearly a month of negotiations with the Blues. Sturge was pleased to be back at the club. I had been at Millwall previously from January to the end of the season, being around the players and being around the changing room and the training ground. I just loved it, and I thought, this is definitely a place that I could be. And the manager, I had talks with him, and he said that I was in his plans and it looked like a good project and something I wanted to be a part of. The left-back spent time at Creative Football Academy and Brighton's Academy before signing for Chelsea in 2022. He was loaned to League One side Braintree United for the 23-24 season, making 11 appearances in all competitions before rejoining Chelsea halfway through the campaign. Sturge continued to feature for the Blues under-21 side in Premier League 2 over the next year before the Lions made their move in late January 2025. It was pretty late on in the January transfer window. My agent just said, Millwall were interested in you. What are your thoughts on it? And after having a few conversations with the, sporting director, and I thought that was something, I wanted to do. And then the deal got done, literally on deadline day. It was a very last minute thing, but, we got over the line. And I was really delighted to be here, and I couldn't wait to get started. Sturge had played just 34 minutes of Championship football before he was named to the starting lineup for the Millwall home fixture against Norwich City on April the 21st, but he impressed and retained his place in the team for the next 2 matches. It was really good, actually. I enjoyed every minute of it. It was kind of unexpected, I guess, but because Joe got injured and all of a sudden I had to step up and be ready. Fortunately, I did well. I was just really grateful for the opportunity, and I don't think anything can really prepare you for it. Playing under 21s is very different. Then coming into the men's game, physicality, you've got to be a lot stronger. Mentally, you've got to be aware and a few steps ahead. It was a challenge, but it was one that I was ready to take on. Sturge pointed to Bryan as a player who's helped him with that transition. It's been really good, actually. He's been very helpful. He gives me advice, and we have a lot of conversations about football and not about football, and he's been really good to me, and I've been enjoying being around him. Sturge has already made 2 appearances this season, starting in the EFL Cup and coming on as a substitute against Middlesbrough to replace the injured Alfie Doughty. With Doughty and Bryan out, Sturge is set to get a consistent run of games, one of his goals this season. It's my first proper season, playing men's football, and I'd say, I just want to get a good run of games, get used to the environment of the Championship and see how many games I can play for myself. Coming off the back of last season, we just narrowly missed the playoffs, so I'll definitely say that the boys are going to be in it for the promotion race. So there you go. Good to hear. Zak Sturge, step up. Time to step up. Step up and be ready, because here it comes. Now, moving on to this. This is something. This is wolves.co.uk, which is Wolverhampton Wanderers' official website. Why am I showing you this? Well, so it seems to be, much like there have been changes in the under-21 setup for Millwall in the Professional Development League, we are in a cup competition. I don't think they entered the cup. Did they? I don't think they entered the cup last season. But the under-18s did enter the cup. So I think this is Millwall's first year in this Premier League Cup game system. I may be corrected. But, so Wolves has said that they've been drawn against us, Swansea and Nottingham Forest. So it's a 4-team group. and they've got the fixtures. So one interesting thing to note, it seems that all of the games are set to be played in stadia, in let's use Millwall's language, in the Stadium Bowl, and there are games set to be at the Den, which kind of makes sense now why the league games for the under-21s, they've only put on one game per month at the Den, because they normally would have more, and they cut that back. And now we know why, because all of these games are going to be, 3 of them are going to be at the Den, and 3 of them are going to be away. And I think what's happening here, I don't know if this is new, whose idea this was, is this, is it mandated by the Premier League who run this competition that the games need to be in a stadium? Because maybe, I don't know if they're trying to push this up to be the main youth football competition. Because at the moment, I would say it's almost certainly the FA Youth Cup is the main competition. That's an under-18s competition that's available for basically all teams to enter. It's an open competition. But when you think about it, so you've got the FA Cup, you've got the FA Youth Cup, you've got the Carabao Cup, the League Cup. You don't have an under-21 League Cup, which just involves league teams. This seems to be it, really. So maybe this is it. So, but the thing is, the beauty of the FA Cup is that the FA mandate to the teams that enter certain rules, and the rules are the games need to be played at the home team stadium. They're usually night games that get kick off at 7 p.m. So it's a good atmosphere. Obviously, you get minnows, you get small teams playing bigger teams, and it's an event. But one of the things regarding that, and why I don't think this could probably compete, the thing with the under-18 level, it's a good level for balancing things out. The skill shows through, because the physicality isn't really there yet. It is there in some players, but it's not there all the way throughout the whole team. It's not about who can be the most physical team. The skillful players do shine through in the FA Youth Cup. At this level, under 21s, you'll have, depending on what time of the year they were born, you'll have 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds. Goes all the way through. And, we know that Premier League teams, they're under 21s. They gather players from all around the world. So there's kind of a mismatch there. In terms of the quality in the competition, are we going to be able to compete at this level? At the under-18 level, there is still that element of competitiveness, even though when we've gone in that competition, we've gone to Man City and we lost 4-0. We went away to Arsenal, we lost 6-0, but we did drew with Chelsea at the Den and went through on penalties. So, it swings and roundabouts. Can that be the same case for this under-21 level? I don't know. But, like I said, there are going to be games held at the Den, and it says here they will travel to the Den on the 26th of September for their opening game. And here's a list of fixtures. Now, obviously, Millwall haven't put up the fixtures yet. I think they're having a day off because they go on the away game on Saturday, or maybe they're working on the transfer deals. I don't know. So, in order to find out when Millwall's fixtures are, we shall travel around the teams. So, this is SwanseaCity.com, Swansea City's official website, and here we go. Thursday the 9th of October, 1 p.m, the Den. Now, this so far, all I can gather, this is the only game that's kicking off in the afternoon. All of the other games are night games. So this one is at 1 p.m. kickoff. And then we go down and we go through, and then Friday the 21st of November, Swansea City FC Youth Academy Training Centre, 7 p.m. Now, it's at their training centre, but you would imagine it's being held in front of a crowd, because otherwise, why would it be a 7 p.m. kickoff? Surely you would just have it in the afternoon. So again, is this going to be behind closed doors in front of a crowd? We don't know. Maybe they're going to stream it on YouTube. I don't know. Some teams do put their under 21 games on YouTube for free. I don't know. So that's Swansea. The Wolves one. Here we go. I think I've got to go back up. Yeah. So the Mill's home game, Friday the 26th of September. Away, it's home for us, the Den, 7 p.m. kickoff. So here we go. The under 21s playing against Wolves under 21s in a night game at the Den. How fantastic is that? And if we go down, so that is the day before the Swansea away game for the first team. And the first team is going to be playing at 12:30 kickoff. So here's an idea. I don't know what time will the coaches leave for Swansea for a 12:30 kickoff? Something stupid like 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, I don't know. You go to this game on the Friday night, 7:45, 8:45, finishes at 8:45. Walk to the pub down the Blue, have a couple of drinks. When they kick you out, you walk down to the Den to get the coaches to Swansea City away. Does that sound like a plan, or does that sound like a plan? Amazing, Nespas. And like I said, and the away game, if we go down, the away game, Monday the 8th of December, 7 p.m. kickoff at Akbar Stadium. Do you know where Akbar Stadium is? Does anyone know who plays there? It is Kidderminster Harriers. So this game is going to be held at Kidderminster Harriers Stadium, 7 p.m. kickoff on Monday the 8th of December. So there you go. How about that? And I can tell you who we're playing. I think this is a tough one because we're sandwiched. The first team are playing on Saturday the 6th of December. The first team are away at Bristol City. And then on Wednesday the 10th, they're away at Derby County. So, damn, that's a rough one. So that's the Swansea game, the Wolves game. Now, Nottingham Forest game. What about that? Do we have the... Nah, okay. So Nottingham Forest under 21s versus Millwall under 21s is being held at Loughborough University Stadium, which is where clearly Loughborough University FC play. And that's going to be Friday the 12th of December, 7 p.m. kickoff. And that is the day before we play Hull City at home at the Den. And then on Tuesday the 16th of December, so 7 p.m, will school holidays be in by then? Probably not, no. They'll probably start on Wednesday. The Den, 7 p.m. kickoff. Millwall under 21s versus Nottingham Forest under 21s. How about that? So here we go, We're trying to build up the under 21s, trying to showcase them off to all of these, get them built up, get them playing some decent teams. And here we go. How about that? This competition. So there you go. Like I said, it looks like they're trying to push this competition, Premier League Cup, as the under 21 version of the FA Youth Cup. We'll see how that goes. And, historically, Millwall have done well in cup competitions. So this might be the way. This might be the future. So keep an eye on that, wonder what the pricing structure will be. £5 to get in, £10 to get in. We wait to see. We wait to see if it's well attended, if the fans turn up, and how the players play, and if they can win some of these games, put themselves in the shop window, and do Millwall proud in this competition. Proud. Now, talking of under 21s, here we go. Last but not least, I think the last one to sign for a club is Carl Smith, who did look very good. He's like a right wing back. He was very good last season. Very skillful on the ball. He signed for Braintree Town, I believe they're called. They've signed him. Braintree have signed defender Carl Smith on a free transfer following the player's departure from Millwall. Smith, 21, did not make a first-team appearances in his only senior season with the Lions, but was in the matchday squad on 4 occasions in the Championship last term. He was on the bench. He did play 13 times in the National League for Wealdstone in 23-24. Now, even though he was very good, as mentioned, there comes a point we have to make a decision, and that point is he's 21 years old. It's the under 21s. Are you ready for the first team now? If not, you need to go and play for a first team where you are ready. And that seems to be Braintree Town. Although, as I mentioned in the video the other day, our players go and play for non-league teams because if they went to a professional team, compensation would need to be paid. So do remember that. Once he gets to the age of 24, no compensation has to be paid. So they spend 2 or 3 seasons in the non-league and then they can come straight back to a pro team. It's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. And, it's not over till it's over. So, good luck and God bless. Now, planning news. West Kingsdown planning the new training ground. Had a little bit of a problem. Got a bit of a problem. Yes. So, this is the application. So, condition 9, condition 5. You see that? You see that. The other conditions have been granted. See that? Granted. You see that? Granted. These ones, not so much. And we will find out why. So, this one here is about the ecological survey. If we go down, so condition 5, and this is all from sevenoaks.gov.uk. Planning application. Prior to commencement of works, including site clearance, by the way, a construction environmental management plan (SEMP) will be submitted to and approved in writing by the local planning authority. The SEMP will be based on the recommendations in section 6.1 of the ecological appraisal report and include the following. All of this stuff, etc., etc., as in, don't hurt the animals, leave the animals alone. The approved SEMP will be adhered to and implemented throughout the construction period in accordance with the approved details, landscape and ecological management plan, including a proposed buffer planting. We advise that separate comments on dormouse will be provided as part of the discharge on condition 6. So they want it to be rewritten. So they said, we're not going to approve your plan, we want it changed, and then we'll approve it. Now, here we go. The submitted SEMP is based on an ecological survey information which was submitted as part of the original application, which was 2 years ago, 2023, because this stuff takes fucking ages. And they want a new survey because it's been a couple of years. The animals go on cycle from year to year. Summer, spring, summer, winter, fall, all that shit. So that's been 2 years now. They want a new survey carried out. An updated site visit by an ecologist will be carried out prior to any works commencing on the site, but we would expect the site visit to be carried out prior to the submission of the SEMP. So Mill have said, we did one 2 years ago, we're going to do one before we do any building work, and then we're going to act accordingly based on that. So now they've said, you need to do that before. So that needs to be done again and submitted as part of the SEMP. bureaucracy, am I right? From looking at the satellite photos, we acknowledge that the site continued to be managed as an arable field until at least 2024. Really? Did it? Did it? I don't think so, and therefore it is likely that conditions within the site have not changed on site significantly since the original surveys were carried out. Then why do you need a new survey done? It's like they're rubbing your nose in it. They're saying you need to do this, and then even though we've seen some satellite photos and we don't think anything's changed, they're rubbing salt into it because they know they're getting one over on you. The majority of the species interest is limited to the site boundaries, and the impact will be limited to small areas of vegetation clearance. A precautionary mitigation approach has been proposed for badger, reptiles, breeding bird and hedgehogs, and we do agree with the principle of what has been proposed. However, we do have concerns regarding badger, and if the proposed mitigation is still appropriate. If a badger set as established within the site boundary, the SEMP will have to be updated to provide details of what the mitigation will be and demonstrate it can be implemented. Therefore, we recommend that a site visit is carried out and either an updated SEMP or a letter confirming the information within the SEMP is still valid is submitted prior to determination. So they're not going to do it until you can tell them. We highlight that no works can commence on site until the dormouse mitigation strategy has been submitted and discharged and an EPS license issued. Now here's the thing. There's some kind of law. I've talked about this before in the original condition application. They did a report. In the SEMP report. In the SEMP report the Millwall published, gave to the authority and they published, it is redacted. There are certain redactions because it is illegal to tell people where certain animals are. So I don't know if they just fucked this up because are they telling us that a badger lives here and dormice live here, or are they saying they might be? We do have concerns regarding badgers, and if the proposed mitigation is still appropriate. If a badger set has established, so maybe there aren't badgers there at the moment. Maybe badgers have been seen. But here's the thing. Millwall bought this land, but not only the package of land that they bought to the north of it, they also own an ancient woodland. Wow. I would imagine that a badger would love to live in some fucking ancient woodland, especially when no one's going to go in there and he'll be allowed to do what he wants. So here's the thing: if they do find a badger set there, not in the woodland but in the bit where they want to build, you can just say to Mr. Badger, "Hey, Mr. Badger, we're going to move you to some ancient woodland. Isn't that fantastic?" And he's going to say, "Why, aye, man?" Because he's Newcastle, because he's black and white. And then he's going to move into the ancient woodland, and he's going to live happily ever after with Mr. Toad and the other geezer from that book that I don't really know about because I haven't read it. So that's that, alright? I don't know if it's supposed to be redacted, but whatever. We've also got a little snafu on the other one, which is condition 9. Surface water drainage scheme. So we've got some feedback. Ashley, we've got some feedback for you, Ashley. This is from Kent County Council. So obviously Sevenoaks District Council, they have to refer some matters to Kent County Council, and then it's up to them to decide. So Kent County Council has a lead local flood authority has reviewed the drainage details report prepared by Harrington dated July 2025 and have the following comments. The report proposes to manage the surface water for the site through using swales, permeable surfacing, basins and deep borehole soakaways. No, you are. The accompanying Phase 2 geo-environmental assessment dated the 8th of September 2023 highlights within that if a deeper borehole soakaways are considered, then specific testing should be carried out to determine the permeability of this material and the presence absence of any groundwater. At this stage, we would expect detailed infiltration testing to be provided to support the assumed infiltration rate. Soakage tests should be undertaken in accordance with BRE 365, including the requirement to fill the test pit 3 times. Testing should... So basically, they guessed how long the water would take to drain away, but they have to drill down. They're saying you need to do a test. But here's the thing. They can't do anything until they get the environmental thing. So, again, this is going to take a while as well. Because they need to then reapply for the environmental thing, get that passed, get the EPS license, and then they can do some testing in terms of they have to drill down, and then drill down to the bedrock, fill it up with water and time how long it takes to soak away. And they have to do it according to the test, so it needs to be like standard test, I assume. Further to this, we seek for details regarding, so they want more details regarding the groundwater level in the area to be provided, and confirmation that a minimum of 1 metre separation has been provided from the base of any infiltration feature and the groundwater level. I don't know what that means, but, you know, it's important to them, and it's not going to go ahead unless you do it, so you've got to get it done. The report highlights that the deep borehole soakaways will have a 10 metre easement from other boreholes and a 15 metre easement from all buildings. However, the accompanying Phase 2 geo-environmental assessment highlights that soakaways may not be permissible within 20 metres of any structures. Further to this, the easements for a number of the soakaways overlap. We would seek for further consideration to be given to this and clarification regarding the required separation distance. So it looks like the geezer who's done this doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Was that the Hassan guy? Hamed guy? So yeah, he's fucked it up, basically. In one part he said it's this, and in the other part he said it's that. Well, which one is it? What are you talking about, bruv? Do you get ChatGPT to write out? We also seek for clarification regarding contributing areas used within the hydraulic calculations. It would be extremely useful for a catchment plan to be provided, which clearly demonstrates that the areas used in the hydraulic analysis are correct and consistent with those designed for. Okay, so there you go with that as well. With regards to the hydraulic calculations and climate change, in this location, the allowance for the 25 epoch is higher than that for the 2070s epoch. We would expect that for a development that has a lifetime beyond 2061, the higher of the two allowances is to be used. Well, that's a load of old shit anyway, but you know. It seems like the guys fucked that up as well. Further to this, we also seek for the upper end of climate change allowance to be applied to the design for the 30-year storm scenario. The latest information on the allowances and map can be found at, of course, a government website. The half-drain times within the hydraulic calculations for the deep borehole soakaways beneath Basin A and Basin E are not shown. We seek for these to be provided. Where there is any exceedance of the drainage network above the 30-year event, an exceedance plan should be provided illustrating where exceedance occurs and the extent and depth of flooding. Exceedance must be controlled within the site boundary. So they're saying, if you can't manage this drainage for this made-up event that's going to be happening, as in climate change bullshit that isn't going to be happening in 30 years, you have to do it in a way that if you get flooded, just you get flooded. It doesn't go elsewhere. Which kind of makes sense because there's houses over the other way, but, you know, whatever. So, yeah. And that's from Emily Neal. So, good work, Emily, on picking all this stuff up. And make sure it's done properly. Good for you. So, there you go. And that's it. I told you we was going to go all over the place, so. And there you go. On that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.